Today I will talk about the ERP integration topic. And I mean, the main motto is like quick and easy. And it sounds like a paradoxon at all. I mean, integration, can it be really quick and easy? That's a question we're going to answer here. So I'm Stavros Gargantzis. I'm the global CEO of TPG, the project group. There's my partner from America, Paul Ciarto, who will maybe come later. We had some kind of customer lunch briefing, and as far as I know, he's talking to customers still, so he might pop up later. So what are we going to talk about today? The agenda. First of all, the goals of the session. Why are we having this session today? What's the goal? What do I want to deliver, the takeaways for you? Next one is integration customers. What type of people are these integration customers? Is this a different species? Is this people that are just different or whatever? How are they really using these systems? And then we have two blocks. So we're going to change this one?
Yeah.
Okay. So maybe. Sorry for that. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Oh, it's louder. Thank you. My voice is not so loud, so this is very good now. Anyway, so the one is a little bit to explain how customers integrate. I will give you a list of 5 customers from different industries and give you some backgrounds, what they do in different industries and how they use this integration. Then the other goal is to understand how integration looks like, just to see it, to smell it, to taste it, to touch it, to whatsoever. It's just, getting familiar with, okay, that's how it could work. And I will give you some more hints what you can do even beyond what you will see here. And of course, the other one is, how can it be extended? And that's, I think, the biggest message that we have to deliver today. So let's start with, of course, a few questions to the audience. First question, do you think integration is needed? Or is it just spend a lot of money for whatever? Just raise hands. Who thinks it's needed? Okay, otherwise you wouldn't be here, right? So that's the easy one. Next one, is it easy? Don't see any hands. Okay, I see some hands like that. You are an integration specialist, so you can keep your hand down. So the last one, can it be as easy as click to go? Like you go to Starbucks, get a coffee, and that's your integration. It's easy. Is it? Do you think it can be as easy as click, 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 save, go? You say yes. Let's see at the end of this day. Maybe we get some more people. So, customers that use the integration. Well, who needs which type of integration? This is one of the questions. We will have just a few first information here. Actually, in our experience and the type of clients we're dealing with, almost every medium or large organization will need to integrate because PPM is not just an island in your organization. I think this is obvious. So there is almost everyone. We have just a few customers that maybe don't need it for some reason, but along the line down the road, they will come back and say, well, yeah, let's go to this point right now. Next one, all applicable industries. For example, we have a lot of customers in R&D, a lot of customers for internal IT projects that have to be integrated. Service is a very, very big business, line of business which is using integration for their invoicing and all this type of things. If you look at our website, for example, you will find in the solutions area, we have a lot of information around how do industries use PPM along with integration, but not only, and how do lines of businesses use EPM with or without integration. And you will see some interesting hints, and we have found out that it's in every industry. It's different always, but in every industry. So the other one, what do we integrate? You see SAP. SAP is the most common one, maybe because we started with it as a German company. We started with developing the integration for SAP to project. At that time, project client, and then project server came along, et cetera, et cetera. But of course, others like Oracle, Dynamics, and any database, whatever it is, has to be integrated over the time. And of course, multi-systems integration. So what we have more and more is that we not only connect end-to-end, like project server to SAP or project server to Dynamics. We might have SharePoint to SAP, to project server, to another database, get all together, post it back to SAP, etc. So it's multi-integration scenarios are getting more and more common in our markets. Let's take a look. This will be a big table you will see here. And you will see in this table 5 of our customers. We just selected one representative customer for each industry, right? So you see on the left-hand side, one is called Weiland Group. It's a German company. They produce heating solutions, right? Devices you can have hanging on the wall or having somewhere in your corner, and it will heat your house or whatsoever, heat your water and stuff like that. It's a classical R&D company. They develop products for the market, right? They don't do any turnkey products. They develop for the market, mass production. We have Harman International, very well-known brand, I suppose, for you guys in America. So they use this for their infotainment for automotive, right? So what these guys do is they run this type of R&D product development projects. We have Kemira as a chemistry company, right? Kemira is a company from Finland, and we've been working with a partner who's also here actually for them. And they use this for their R&D, quite similar to Weiland, by the way, but it's chemistry, it's another industry, right? Standard Bank, South African bank, I think the second largest bank in South Africa, or the largest in Africa, something like that, Dries? Second, yeah. So what they do internally, of course, is a type of IT-based and organizational-based projects for running their business and changing their business, right? Very interesting business they do there. And the other one is Exaro, a mining company. There's a separate presentation for Exaro, which Adrian, who's sitting here, will deliver tomorrow, I think, right? So Exaro is a very interesting case because, not only because it's mining, but because it's very broad approach. They have pretty much every line of business for managing in project server, like construction projects, like maintenance projects, like internal organizational projects. And they have a very interesting integration, which, if you look here, they also connect to Primavera along with SAP. So it's a multi-integration scenario, which is quite interesting, actually, anyway. And then, of course, the whole construction controls. I think this is a very nice case study to listen anyway. So if you look at the type of products, I think I talked you through this already, like product development, like they do OEM equipment, right? OEM products for automotive. Same here, development for the market. Very much of funding, you know, from state funds, which is very important as well to consider here. And then we have, you see here, a variety of projects here as well as here. So you see many countries, and what is interesting in the integration scenarios we have here is that we have some kind of challenges that we needed to cover. And one of the challenges is the teams, especially in R&D, but not only, the teams are sitting distributed all over the place. So if I look at the first one, like Weiland, they have for one development project, they have people sitting maybe in Germany, others in Slovakia, others maybe in Spain, and people have to work together on the very, very same project. So what we have to make sure is that not only we have a common resource pool, but we take all these financials and distribute into the right SAP company codes. Right? That's a very important scenario, which is repeated over and over here and the same here, and you will see some slides with some graphics that show you how this works and how this can be done. I won't go through everything. Maybe interesting to mention again is that all of them integrate to SAP. It happens that most of our business is SAP, and I think this one is very representative here. And most of them connect to PS, but not all of them. Right? I don't know how well you know SAP, but some of them connect us to CO, for example. They don't need PS. PS is the project system. Right? Maybe a question, who of you knows SAP? Just raise your hand. Most of you, right? Okay. So I counted about 250 right now, right? Is this correct? The hands are here? No, just kidding. So, and you see the different mappings and the different, technologies, which we don't have to go into depth on this one. Right. So, looking at how these customers integrate, and this is interesting also in terms of the use cases, the following. Right. So, for example, almost all of them will start with integrating master data. Right. So they have their employees in SAP, they have their cost centers, they have whatever type of master data is important and relevant for running their business and integrating properly. All this information must be imported and not keyed in twice and 3 times and 4 times and duplicated the data entry. That's a very important one. This one is actually the way they run their finance, their controlling in SAP. In this case, again, we have SAP customers. So some of them run PS, others stay with internal orders. We have others using PM, which is plant maintenance. So we have different type of approaches. But this one, like forecast, actual costs, commitments, and all this type of things, along with, actual work, along with actual cost commitments, etc., is the main reason, the main driver why we get this request for integration at all. So, and one other thing which is very unique here in this list for Exaro, but we get this at other customers quite often, is there are more systems. Right? Exaro has something which they call the mega projects. The mega projects are run in Primavera. I have talked to these guys personally, and it was really impossible to get them using anything else other than Primavera. That's their world. It's a handful of people, maybe 10, I don't know, but they run these mega projects in Primavera. You cannot get them away, and maybe you don't want to do this, because this is their world. But this world has to be integrated in the whole PPM environment. So what we do there is, we take this data, we feed them into the project server, and we use the whole information from project server and integrate to SAP, and we try to get, again, Primavera aligned with the whole thing. So this is something we get more and more at other customers. So that's how customers integrate, just to give you an idea and what is important. We have also a few statistics. Like, I have to do this here. This is the screen. This is the computer. Sometimes you get a little bit confused. So 95% of what we could check in all our customer lists, that's an internal actually analysis with it, they need actual cost integration. It's not 100 because, for example, some of our clients in plant maintenance projects, they don't care so much. They do, but sometimes they don't care so much about actual cost integration with project. They need just the scheduling to flow back into their SAP plant maintenance projects, right? So that's why it's not 100. Otherwise, it would be 100 because everyone wants to know how much did this thing cost and how can I get this cost in my project in order to control my budgets. So the other one is timesheets. Not everyone uses timesheets, but if they use, they always integrate. That's a must, right? And then we have the other thing with the forecasts. Of course, everyone does budgeting. Sometimes they do this a little bit outside from PPM. That's why it's not every customer. It's maybe 75% something. But in general, forecasting is a very, very important topic in order to get your inputs for the whole budgeting process and budgeting control. Right. So just to give you some statistics, why and how they use this. You have a question? Okay, that's a good question. I will repeat the question. Timesheets, do we have people entering timesheets in SAP, or do we have them entering time, capturing time in project? And which direction do we synchronize? So the answer is both. But most of them do the time posting in Project Server for very good reasons. I don't know how well you know SAP, but SAP has something which we call SAP CATS, the cross-application timesheets, right? So CATS is a nice tool for reporting of time. If it comes to projects, there are some things that people don't get very well along with. And again, it's a very powerful tool. You can customize to do a lot of stuff and put a lot of business logic in. But things, the main, let's say, project management specifics, which can be, for example, I want to have my estimation to completion. I want to compare against my forecast. I don't want this. I mean, CATS says something like, yes, per day you can give something like what else you need for the work, which doesn't make any sense for you, right? So people prefer having the project management tool for the whole time capturing and then push it back to SAP. Some of our customers, mainly in Central Europe, they have gone all the way through the work councils, which is quite a tedious process, especially in Germany, not only. And if the work council has confirmed that they can use CATS, then they have to stick there. We cannot get them away from there. So in these cases, we take this data from CATS and bring this to Project Server. But now you know, I think you can imagine what the issue is with that. What do you think? Where's the issue? If I post time in CATS and try to get this back in Project? The details, right? I mean, if you want to have the time really back on the task where it really occurred, you will have to post so many details to SAP beforehand in order to get the same level of detail back. We have some solutions around this, but this is a main issue. So some of the customers that have to use CATS, they tell us like, okay, give me the rough number in project so I know where we are, and then give me a report so I can see the details. Fair enough? It doesn't help me to track my project in detail. So there's a lot of thoughts around this, right? How this is going to be managed. So it's okay with the question? Yeah? Cool. Yeah, these are a few statistics just for you to see how the customers are using that. Some general integration concepts. As you can see on the left-hand side, different projects we can integrate with. And you see here, I mean, the biggest letters, of course, are the, let's say, most commonly used integration scenarios. And of course, on the other side, you can connect to whatever makes sense in terms of integration, tasks or time-phase data or lookup tables or whatever it is. Now, the challenge, if it comes to integration, is not so much the technology, right? I mean, the technology is something that has to comply with whatever you do in terms of your business processes, right? For example, when we go into these architectural sessions and workshops, some of the things we try to figure out is, how is the life cycle of your project? How does it work with the proposal stage, right? How can you interface with your ERP system in terms of maybe calculating stuff in Project Server and giving them back to SAP to be used for your quotation? So there's some stuff that we need to understand at the beginning. And then how is the handover from there into budget release, into et cetera, et cetera. So the first thing is, and very often we go to customers and find that the process is good, but it's not solid. So we need to work on this. Understand, well, wait a second, if we do this, then you have maybe a closed period in SAP. How can we do that? Oh yeah, maybe have to do this earlier. So we need to understand that this process is really rock solid. Now, having said that, we have to take care about some other things, like budgeting. Very often, like top-down, bottom-up. Look at R&D projects. You get this big kind of funds for an R&D programs, for an R&D department. You have to break them down into different budgets for programs, and then you get some bottom-up, like kind of forecasts for budget requests. This is a process you need to understand how you want to have this done in Project Server and integrate it to your ERP system. Month-end process is something we always advise the customer to make very careful, right? When are your people posting their time? When are we closing the period? How are we replan the project? How do you want the forecast updates? How do you want to control the budgets after that, et cetera, et cetera? So you see, there's a lot of stuff to make sure that we have sorted in the whole process and business side before we go into the technology. And the other thing is integration differs by business area. We have some examples here. Service. If you go to a service company, they will tell you like, my consultants go to the client, what I want at the end of the month, give me the billable days, give me the timesheets, and I want to send an invoice, and I want to make sure how much billable I have, how much non-billable I have, et cetera, et cetera. It's their requirement. If you go to R&D, they will start talking about, well, cost forecast, multinational teams, different business areas or company codes and whatsoever, different stuff. You might go to a product development company. They need to have a budget control. They have a budget for a project. They have to deliver to the customer. They have their SOP, whatever it is. So there are different things that are very important to understand. And based on that, you build the use cases. And you will see later on, whatever we do here is use case based. Understanding what they need, build the use case, do the implementation. I'll give you an example of one company in R&D. Actually, the Finnish guys will know them. It's almost a camera case. It's a very nice case because it's interesting. It's very straightforward. What these guys do, they have people working in Finland, working in USA, working in China. And they want to plan them in the same project, same task maybe, working together on something. But then at the end of the day, what they want us to do is to make sure that in the ERP system, we get the right objects for all the Finnish people that have posted their time in Project Server to go and be charged to the right object for the right company code. Right? Just to give you this example here. It's the same with the American people. Right? So, and then from China, we have only one person in stage 1, so we don't need any more. Just to give you the example. Whatever the final solution is for the customer, this gives you the idea what you have to think about to make it as easy as possible. Because at the end of the day, what you don't want the project managers to do, start thinking about, I need a new object for Finland. So let me go to the ERP system and create an internal order. Okay, what's the company code? You know, that's something you don't want them to do. You want just to make sure this is being created for you, this is being posted, full stop. That's how it works. So that's one example. A similar example here, which we have at quite many customers actually. Actually the codes always mean something like stages and company codes, etc. Just to give you the idea here. And the other one, just to give you the example, is multi-country scenarios. Very similar to the one before. A lot of customers, they have some kind of high-level mapping. So they say, well, the projects, you know, they comprise kind of 2 phases. It's the same in my financial system. I want to track the costs against them. But I want the system to go ahead and find for all the counters that are involved and create me a receiving object here. And, and whenever I assign a new person, and maybe this is not from Austria, but maybe from USA, the system automatically will create a new receiving object for USA. Just to give you the example here, right? So again, to finalize on how customers use integration, there's a lot of business process to make sure it is well-defined, well-designed. And then, of course, the technology must be as flexible as possible to meet these requirements and have the people work and concentrate on what they really have to do and not start thinking in Japanese. That's how we call the SAP language, by the way, in order to, finalize their project forecasting, et cetera, et cetera. Any question on this one? So let's go and see a little bit more live. We are using integration. So what we're going to see right now, we kept it very easy here, is the following. We have a SharePoint list. A SharePoint list which is kind of a project request list or something like new project proposal list, something like that. So this list will be used to collect whatever we need and want to do, and someone will approve, like, okay, let's move forward with this one. And once it's approved, what we do as the first integration point, we will go to our web client of PeerSlink and just run a job and tell him to retrieve a new number from the SAP system, write it straight into SharePoint so I know there's a new project created, and create a project in SAP straight away. Just a header, nothing else. Now the second one is we will run another job which will, for all these projects that are created, it will generate a new project in Project Server by loading all the accounting data that we need from the SAP system. And the third one is we will create a cost structure. It's not very exciting. I mean, it's something which integration is never exciting. It is like how it is. It's not like a fancy report, you know, you play around. But at the end of the day, for you, it's important to know, yeah, I mean, it works. And you will see, I will always kick off the jobs from our web client. But at the end of the day, and I will explain a few of the stuff, we can just incorporate this in workflows. We can maybe run this overnight, et cetera, et cetera. But you will get the picture, and you will see how this works. So let me switch to my test machine here. It works. So I was struggling a little bit with my adapter here. That's why I have VGA, and the resolution is okay, but maybe I have to scroll back and forth, so sorry for that. Now, this is the list. Very simple. We have something like project names, a small description of the project. We have the question whether it's approved or not, and then if you run the job, it will generate a new number in SAP, give the number back, and later on, if we create this in project, it will also be in EPM. So this is the result view, right? Now what we have here, we have customers. One customer wants a migration with SAP integration from 2010. Another one wants a multi-currency scenario. And the third one wants maybe to implement our team manager, our solution for managing teams with a line, from line managers against projects. Very interesting. So looking at this list, and I'm the manager right now, I would say, well, guys, okay, this is good. We can do that. The way these guys want multi-currency, I think we have to make another loop, so let's keep it open. We don't confirm this right now, but we'll confirm the one here for the team manager. That's fine, that's straightforward, et cetera, et cetera. So you get how this works. Imagine we kept it very, of course, very lean here, just for the demo. So now what happens is, what we do now is we go to our PeerSlink web client. And what we're going to do right now is we will run one of the jobs which will do exactly this integration piece. This job will, let's go here. It will create, I select just one of the jobs that is applicable for that. This is the way, if you use our product, we have many ways how to execute a job. This is our web client. So usually we have PMO members or administrators that are using this one, or sometimes project managers, to run specific jobs where they have permissions on to do. Not everyone can do this, of course. So here we have the one here, retrieve the SAP number. And I will just run it. I mean, I can also go ahead and put it in my queue. I can build a lot of jobs in the same queue. There's a lot of functionality behind it. I just say, okay, let's take this one here. And now the system is creating the queue, and the queue is being processed. I don't know how often you can configure this anyway. And so this will be, let me get some refresh here. So it will take a while, maybe a few seconds. And then after that, the system will have created this information into the SAP system. Yeah, it's still running. And then we will take a look on what exactly happened after this integration is done. So it's done. You see success. If there's an error, then I can just drill in and look at the error logs and whatsoever. Right now here I can see my job has run. I can go into details. I can see the numbers, for example, that have been created here. Like, you know, these are the two projects that have been created. I can go into more details if I want. And normally, you know, if you configure for clients this type of jobs, you see at the bottom here, these two projects are created. I can use more table information, whatever you need to be logged. So let's go to my table here, and it's just a refresh, F5, just a simple refresh. And what happens now here is, you see, I have the new numbers that have been created in SAP system, right? Good? Sorry. So let's go to the SAP system and take a look. Let me first go ahead here and copy this one. Okay. Copy. There you go. So, and I go now to my, okay, that's a little bit of a challenge because I have another resolution. SAP GUI. Who knows this GUI? Hey, quite many people. Okay. So you love it? Yeah, it's nice colors. It's blue. Seahawks are blue as well. Okay, sorry. Don't go back again to these games. So let's take this one here. Logging on. What we did right now is I go to the transaction. There you go, CJ20. Hey, I have really specialists here. You know, SAP is something for internals. You know, something you have to know the codes. You can make a really good impression. Like, go to CJ40, and then you can select something like it. Anyway, so it's how it is, but it's interesting. Actually, I wanted another one. I wanted CJ20N. I know my stuff, you see here. So, and what I can do here is, it's Project Builder. I can just add this one in. And what I got from SAP back is the process definition is created with some other data. And I can start doing my, let's say, accounting changes. For example, I have to change the business area from 1,000 to 2,000, right? And save it and maybe change the company codes, whatsoever, right? And I can go to the other project as well, which we created, which obviously is number 7. And I can do the same thing here. For example, I can change the business area 3,000 for this one. Save. Okay. So in this scenario that we show here, what happens is you have your request list. You confirm that you want to continue with this project. You create whatever, just this header into the SAP system. The finance people will do some kind of changes, whatever they have to change there. And then you go ahead and we run another job, which will, sorry for this back and forth, we go from here. We will run another job, which will now take this project into EPM and create new projects in Project Server, right? Let's do that. So we go again here in a new job. And this new job will, no? Okay, there you go. This job will create a project from SAP to PPM. So we say, okay. This takes a little bit longer, because what it will do right now is it will check, there's a lot of checks behind it, in the projects that are created already, projects that are not created, and it will use a template in Project Server and get all the data from SAP and create a ready-to-plan project for the project managers. Right? That's what's going to happen right now. So let me go and see here where we are. And so it's running. Usually, one thing, again, this is one of the clients we have here, and it always depends on the use case, what type of client to take, right? So if you want people to kick off a job directly, you can use this one. You will see the job that I will run afterwards will let me select a project to run for a specific project. This one is running for a loop which is predefined. So it checks conditions and says, well, let me see in SAP what I have in project, what type of, check the SharePoint list, get me the loop I have to do, run the loop, and create everything for me. Right? So this is a must job, let's say. Of course, kept a little bit smaller here, just to make sure that this is only for, for our demo. So it's successful. So what happens right now is if I go to Project Server, let me go here to my project center. And if I open my projects, and let me close this business area. So you see, these are my 2 new projects that I created, right? So the one is Client 3, migration and sub-integration. The other one is implement TPG Team Manager, right? Let me go into the first one. Just open it here. And I can start doing changes. I can, for example, let's edit. I can let this start maybe later. Something like, oh, we have to start it next week, a week later. Something happened, whatever. And maybe we have to change some other information whatsoever. And of course, we can code the schedule as well. Let me save this information. That just did a small change that tells me also that this will shift maybe the end of the project, which is okay. I can live with that. And then we will take a look at the schedule after this is saved. Oops, an error occurred. Let's try again. Yeah, saving now. All right. So we'll check the schedule. It's saved. There's no issue this time. Okay, that's good. So, and if we look at our schedule here, you can see that our project is not very big actually. It has a consulting piece with some expenses, an implementation task, and training piece. It has some of the tasks have a flag. They're flagged that they should be an WBS element in your SAP system, so you will want to collect costs against them, right? So that's what it is. So what I do now is I will, whatever, you do changes, you plan your project, I will go ahead and publish this one. And after doing all my changes, and then I will start the job. Okay, let's publish completed, that's good. Let's go to close. Yeah, check in, I don't need this anymore. I will start another job now, which will write the structure for this very project into the SAP system. Let me check that I'm disconnected here. Okay, but to make sure that I have not the project open. So sync PD and WBS to SAP, right? And if I select this job, I can also select the project for that, right? So I can say this is the client number 3, migration and SAP integration. So that's the project I want to update to the SAP system. I can say, okay. I can queue it, etc., the whole things. And what happens now is, and that's the last demo we do for the existing, and then we go to the new one. So what the job is doing, it will read the structure from project, will check against SAP, run in diff analysis, and then upload the whole structure into the SAP system, right? So let's see how long this will take. And yeah, it will take a while. And then we have finished, okay? It's good so far. So now it's checking the success of the thing. It's successful. That's good. So let's go to SAP and take a look what we did, just to make sure that we have everything really in place. So that's, I think, client 3, migration to SAP. This was the one. So now we got this back here. So the whole structure that we had in Project Server, which was flagged as to go to SAP, is now populated into the SAP system. You get the story. Normally what is happening right now with this is someone wants to maybe collect the timesheets and post the time to SAP. You will have, of course, to take care of the statuses that you have here, that it must be released in order to get this in SAP, etc., right? So that's the story that's existing. And of course, I could deliver more demos, but what I want to do with you here is something different. So let me go back to my slides quickly. Number 6, I think, right? Yeah. So you remember we got a number SharePoint list, we generated a project, and we created the structures. Now, that was using the integration, that was the demo. And now we have extending the integration. Right. So what happens right now? We have still the same scenario. Retrieve sub numbers, generate the project, create cost structures. We've done this already. But what happens right now is finance people can be very nasty. What happens is they want us to get all the costs that we planned in project and post them into the SAP system, because they need this for their company reporting. They need the most recent forecasts to show the right numbers to the public. And they want it now. What does this mean? Panic, right? Oh my God, what are we doing? So what does this really mean? I mean, where should the cost go to, and what type of cost, and will this take months to implement, and how are we going to do this thing? So the story behind this is, let's do this in a few minutes. And I will show you how. So demo on this one. Okay, this was SAP. Let's make this small again. I will open something which we call, no, wait a second. We do first, before we do this, let's go first to our project. What we do here, because the planning has to be in detail, and I want to show you how these tools can really talk to each other if it comes into cost, because the cost planning thing is something very special if you deal especially with SAP, and not only. Let's first go to our project here, Project Center. Let me close these guys here. That's our project there. And let me open this project. I'm using Project Professional for editing right now. Right? So, and what I will do here is, okay, it's opening. Okay. So what I will do here is, first of all, let me get rid of this one. And I want to have my project in months, because I want later on to see the monthly values that I'm going to plan forward. And the other thing I want to do is I want to make sure that I get a few of the cost resources, right? So I want materials, I want services, and I want travel cost. And all of them actually, and this is the importance of the master data, all of them, if I double click, you will see they have some custom fields from SAP, so we know about the cost center, we know about the cost elements, etc., etc. So that's why master data is so important. You need to have this in place in order to make sure that whatever you integrate will go to the right place into your ERP system, right? So, okay, there's nothing to change here. I will keep this. Thanks. So, and now I will go ahead and do my assignments, right? I will go here. And for the expenses, I will assign maybe, we have some travel expenses and we have some professional services to buy here. Cost services. And the same maybe for training, but I will just keep it with this, keep it lean. So, and the other thing I will do, oops, sorry here. Yeah, it's fine. Okay. And the other thing we have here is I will just enter the costs. And then we're done with the preparation of the whole thing. So let me get the cost information here. This is cost. So what people will do here, they will start, let's go to expenses, planning here their services. They might have maybe $30,000 of consulting services in February, and maybe another 40,000 in April. And maybe here another 10,000 and 10,000, just to keep it again in an easy way. And the other thing we will have also, which will go to the ERP system, is the different services. So we have $9,600 for me, yeah, not very cheap, anyway, to go to SAP, and another one for a developer, etc., etc. So these are also numbers that we need to take across to the other system. So let's go ahead and publish the project, right? So, going to use published information later on. So this is the preparation of the whole thing, and this is still, whatever we do here, don't want to provide a workspace. Okay, let's take another one. Interesting. Okay. Make sure that maybe the test we did in the morning, something went wrong here. Interesting. Okay, what we did so far, let me do the publish again. I want to make sure that this is really going across, is pure PPM. So what you got as a request from the finance people is, do your cost planning clearly, do this properly, so we get all the information we need. And what we do right now is, we will go into another application, which we call, okay, sorry for these things that happen here. Somehow this one wouldn't give me, oh, come on. That's weird. Okay, I published anyway. That's strange, I know why this happens. We will go to another application which we'll call, let's go here, our PS Link Studio, right? So that's the one here. Where's the studio? There you go. So PS Link Studio is something which normally only your admin people or very, very people that are IT people will see in your company. And what we will do, we will open a template which will help us to run the job that we want to run here. So we'll create a new job based on a template. And the first thing you get if you do this, you get a template gallery, right? So you have different types of integration templates that you want to use. It's for, I don't know, Dynamics. It's maybe for Oracle. It's maybe for Project. It's for SAP, et cetera, right? So the thing that we want to do is we want to cost and work forecast from Project Server into SAP. So if I click this one here, I will see on the right-hand side, I will see how this looks like, what exactly it does, and the different sections that we have in here, and what it will prepare the data, it will post the cost, it will post the work, et cetera. So I can select exactly the thing that I need to do. So, oops, now I'm a little bit here with the resolution. Okay, so custom job prefix, I will call this something like conference, for conference, and then I say okay. Now what happens now is, I will get the ability to start configuring exactly what the template will give me. So this template knows exactly what you need to do. You want to run forecast. You want to post forecast into the SAP system, right? So that's the purpose. So what it asks you to do is something which is applicable for every customer who's doing the same thing. It's this very same fields that you need for SAP to do this kind of stuff, and the very same information. So what it gives you, for example, is the first thing it tells you, give me the controlling area. Yeah, of course, you can get it from a field, but in this case, it's a constant value, right? So it's 2000. So it's our controlling area to use here. Tell me where I can find the WBS element so I can aggregate the data properly. So, okay, that's a task field. That's going into SAP WBS element. Let's take this one. Okay, so it's done. You see the missing ones are displayed here. Let me know about the cost centers. Where are they? So you can say, okay, sub-cost centers is on the resource. Cost element is maybe again on the resource. Cost elements, there you go. Then we have activity type. This can be both. So you can select if you want to have the activity type being considered as on the task. Sometimes maybe you want to go ahead and say, well, I have consultants, I have trainers, I have technical consultants, business consultants, and sometimes these people do all types of work. So I don't want to have this on the resource, I want to have this on the task, right? And whenever they work on a different task, they will pay it maybe more or less money because they have a different skill. But we can have it also on the resource, or maybe have it default on the resource and change it in the task if you want. Some things are quite interesting here that you need to change. So we take it to the resource right now. And then we have the question, how can I identify the WBS element? Is there a flag so I know this is a WBS element? Yeah, you can give this information. We can make the template to leave it free if you for example, have everything there. And then the other one is the CO version. So this is very sub-like. Which version do you want to post your information to? Is this a 0? Is this some kind of forecast version that you've built, for example, or stuff like that? All right. I'm done. That's all. I save. Yeah. That's my job again. See the flow. I save, and I can run it, right? So we hope that the publishing really took place. That's the only thing I'm a little bit irritated right now. Hopefully this was not an issue. We will find out. If failures don't come, then there's the publishing something. But I think it's fine. So let's go to the new job. What happens here is if I look at the job list, I will have a new entry. And the new entry, I didn't change the name. I could have changed the name in the template, of course, and call it 10 something. I was just too fast with showing you all these things. So it just took the name that it has by default, right? So I take this name. Doesn't make any big difference anyway. And this allows me again to select a project. And this is something you can configure, how you want these jobs to go for a specific project, go for a specific owner, or maybe consider a field with a certain value. So they go for every project where the enterprise field location is maybe South Africa or something like that. So, they can do this type of things. Okay, let's select this one, which is client 3. That's all. I'll run it, and I'm done. So, assuming that publishing was good, because always when we take the forecast data, we always take published data, right? It's very important. Sometimes customers, when we do structure integration, they want us to go and take draft data. But in terms of costs, you always take published data. Clear? So, it's running. Oh, it's finished. Okay. Should show me now if it's successful or not. And then we go to SAP, and again, let's see if the publishing was good or not. Success. Cool. Now let's see SAP here. I go now to transaction number. Who wants to win an Aston Martin? No, I don't have it. Sorry for that. CJ40. It's good for that? Okay, that's our project. Cost planning. Let's see. Well, we got the costs. It's cool. So publishing was okay. So let me see the details, just to make sure that you really see the right things. So this is 90,000 here, and if I go into primary cost planning, you can see that we have costs for travel and costs for purchase services. Let's take the second one. You remember that? We had costs in February and another 40,000 in April. You get the picture, right? So that was the demo. Quick and with no pain, to put it this way. Right. Let's switch to our slides. Let's summarize. The challenge, integration from scratch, can be and really will be complex, no doubt. Making integration generic for every case, we're in the business for 15 years now, actually more than 15 years, almost 16 years. And we tried so many things. Now, trying to build this, let's say, painting tool, which you start doing, drawing around and taking objects here and arrows there and double click there and wow, it's worked for whatever I want to do. You can use this for some type of end-to-end integration, which is maybe okay. But if it goes down into supporting use cases, you will fail. Or you will have to build complexity in order to support the use cases, right? I mean, we want to make our tools as easy as possible, but it must not be at the cost of the functionality. It's no way, because our customers need the functionality. They don't need complexity, they need functionality. And we have to provide it. Now, in this case, what we have to do with our clients is to give them a tool in hand where they can easier go ahead alone and at least the standard use cases to build them on their own with no support on our side, or maybe only support, but not us having to be involved and having to pay for consulting service and whatsoever. So that's the solution piece, which is, okay, this is run down here somehow. Collect and define the main use cases and cast them into configurable use case templates that fit for everyone. Maybe there will be a few which need something special, then we can go in and help them. But it should fit for everyone. That's the way we move this forward. So use case templates cover numerous of ready-to-go scenarios. We have some of the scenarios built in which are, I think, even for customers that need a very simple integration, like get me a SharePoint list into a lookup table, or take the lookup table values and define a filter and post them into some other SharePoint stuff, or from a database or stuff like that. So, and some others like forecast are more sophisticated because you need to understand the business logic of the other system, whatever it is. They're powerful and can be implemented straight away. You saw this one, it was in a few minutes, it can be one day, it shouldn't be more than a week. It should be really fast because it's, you have to fill in fields, maybe you test it out, you get some error messages, you check in SAP, why do I get an error message? Okay, because the controlling error doesn't fit with his company code. Okay, let's check again. Take another company code, try again. So you will have some, trial and errors, but at the end of the day, you will just change the fields, and then you go. So, and we will be issuing more and more templates over the time based on our customer feedback and mainly, even more important for us, based on our partner feedback because the partners will have something in hand to much easier go to their customers and implement PS-Link on their own, independently, and have the results quite quick. However, there's no limit, and because we know, again, this business for many years, there will be many, many customers that will say, yeah, that's good, but my case is so special because I need to, okay, and then we talk. And then we go and configure. I wouldn't show you the configuration, which is, the whole XML language. It's very, very powerful, but it's not something, for someone to make it quick and easy. It's something for a trained consultant to go ahead and build whatever you need. The use case is based on that and displays whatever you need to put in to run the use case. That's how it works. And again, who's going to use it? Customers, administrators that manage PPM along with integration, PMO members. Yeah, we have a lot of requests from PMO members like, give me a template, give me something I can easily extend it. Send me something, I will do it. I know their business, and they really know the business. So if we give them the right template, it will be much easier for them. And of course, partners, very important for us. And our questions again. I have to close somehow. You have a question first, yeah, sure.
Yes, sir. What was the cost and effort to implement this solution at Valiant?
Well, actually, Valiant was it's very hard to say right now because Valiant was a huge project where we started with some business consulting. We did a lot of, PPM implementation. So integration was this piece of the whole thing. You have a question there?
Yeah, I mean, just from what I recall, I think it was less than $1 billion. So.
No, yeah, I think it's for a little bit more, but anyway, no. No, actually, you're asking about the price range of such an integration, right? It can be anything between maybe 20, 30, up to 200, just to put it this way. Yeah, thousands, of course. But the average is not as high, right? So it depends on what you need. But the thing with the templates will make it much easier in a way that you will not need as much consulting on our side. You will buy the license, you will buy some consulting on the on the process, you will work with the templates, and if you need extensions, we will be back there. So that's the main thing. How this works. The question, is integration needed again? We had this again. Yes, it is. And it will increase. It's amazing how much, if I look at our business we do with integration, the increase of the last couple of years is amazing. And it's getting more and more. Second one, is it easy? It is complex, but not the technology is the issue. Right? And the last one, click and go. Let's say yes, but if you define a clear use case level, you click to go. And the use cases we have seen so far, there are so many where we can say, that's the same for every customer. That's the same. They have differences in, I use this field, I use this controlling area, I use another structure. We don't care about the structure. The aggregation functions in PS-Link are so strong. You need to give us just, all the attributes that we need to take care, and then we can do the aggregation. That's all. So this is the thing that the moment we have the use cases defined clearly, right, you can use a template, and then you go. It can be something like a click. That's from me. Thank you very much. Questions? It's a very good question. I will repeat the question. Do our templates span over more ERP systems? Actually, we have a bunch of templates that will connect, for example, SAP to SharePoint. We have one sample template which, for example, goes from SAP to Dynamics, or Dynamics to SAP, I think this way around. We haven't defined so far templates that go through many SAP systems at the same time, but we keep developing templates. So if the use case makes sense for a broad user group, then we will create this template, right? Do you have any more specific requirement on this one?
Well, I was wondering if around in my plant company, we have a lot of different ERP systems, so it was quick to templates
Yeah.
going from one tool and trying to sync up between the different ones.
So, I mean, the question is this more end-to-end, like bidirectional, or do you have a multi-directional integration at the very same time? In this case, I think we have templates that can help. If it's multi-directional, it's very hard to find, let's say, common use cases for multi-directional. We find use cases for people that need it, but not that they are the same if you compare them to each other, right? So again, we want to collect and cast something which is used broadly. So that's the main approach. In your case, I would say if it's the bidirectional is a standard use case, we might have it. If not, it might be some of them we have in development, and then we have to check it out. What type of business are you doing? In which industry? Manufacturing, okay. Yeah, maybe we can talk later about this. And yeah, cool. Other questions? Yep. Okay, question, integration to CRM systems. Do you have any specific in mind?
We have customers asking for it, integration to Salesforce.com or Microsoft CRM, whatever.
Yeah. Okay, so Microsoft CRM is something we integrate to. Salesforce is something which is in our schedule to do. We haven't done so far. But CRM is something we do also internally with us, and we can do this with PSLink as well. And this can be also in the whole scenario, like CRM is the beginning, the starting point for project creation, and then from there it goes to Navision or SAP or whatsoever, or AX, for example. Yeah, it's a good question. Yeah. Another one? Project Online, thanks for the question. Yeah, of course, yeah. What you've seen here was on Project On-Premise, but the same thing works exactly the same in Project Online as well. I don't know, is anyone of you using Project Online? Any of the people here? Was expecting to see all the hands going up. Is anyone not using Project? Okay, so that's kidding. So yeah, I mean, Project Online is something we realized that it is gaining momentum. It's new to the market. It's getting stronger. All our products are ready for using Project Online. We have them already in use for a few customers because there are only a few in the market. It's a matter of fact. But we see a lot of requests for this increasing really strongly, I would say, right? So yeah, it is there for Project Online, definitely. And SharePoint Online as well. Okay, good question. Which ERP systems do we support at the moment other than AX and SAP? We do support Oracle. However, it's at the moment it's not the full functionality, but we are increasing this one as well. And we integrate it to GT Edwards. It's something that's done in America. Maybe you can take on this one. The number of use cases we have with SAP and Dynamics are the most, of course. That's why, you know, they're mentioned mostly, but we've done a lot of integration with others as well.
What about ALM platform? Do you have any integration with ALM, application lifecycle management, like IBM JAS platform?
Not as I'm aware of, to be honest. Do you have anything here in America, Paul? Rational, okay, no. Not with Rational. Actually, what we have integrated quite a lot of times is with Jira. which is this tool is being requested almost every week. Meanwhile, it's amazing. I mean, there's so big community of using Jira, and that's something we connect quite nicely. But we haven't done with Rational. And of course, TFS. Yeah. Other one? Yep. Sure.
On the integrations themselves, with the examples that you gave, what was the biggest issue of synchronization? Because the integrations I've experienced with, a lot of times there's problems between synchronization. What's the master? What's not?
Okay, so the question is the biggest issues we find with integration. Yeah, that's a good question, actually. Let me think about something which is okay. Well, when I talk to my ERP consulting team, and you have someone sitting here actually in front of you, the main thing I keep hearing is that they cannot access the data in, let's say, SAP or Dynamics, whatever, the way we should need them to be accessed. For example, we might get only permissions to, upload this information, but not the other information. We might get issues with some of the, the data is not configured properly, or in SAP quite often they have some user exits, they do some stuff which you cannot control, even inside SAP if you call the functions. So we need to make sure that we go into this. Normally, we don't have to change anything in the systems because we use the standard interfaces. If you think about AX, you always need to do something because AX doesn't have the business logic that SAP has, the whole business application programming interface. So you need to do at least on this side, prepare the whole data exchange for the web service. But this is still on the interface side. It's not on the business side. So that's mainly the issues we have, that the systems have some surprises that we didn't know, or we're not allowed to do things even if we should go there. So I don't know if there's anything else that I missed, Lars. Let me know. Yeah. Yeah, let me repeat this one, because for everyone in the room, thanks, Lars, that's a very good point. For example, if you expect that when you start posting actuals, there is a process where someone has to release stuff in SAP, for example, but they didn't follow the process. Then, do you want us to help with the process? No, we do this alone. And then they come back like, you didn't post the actuals. Yeah, of course, but you look at the logs. We couldn't post because it's not released on your side. So these are the things sometimes if the process is not really followed properly. That's a very good hint, Lars. Thanks for that. Yeah. Other questions? I don't know how good I'm in time. It's, oh yeah, wow, 5 minutes left. Okay, so there's no question. Thanks to everyone. And if I'm here. If you have other questions asked, come to me and we can discuss. Thanks again.